Welcome to you all to the Royal Courts of Justice. The reason we're holding this event, and we're delighted you've accepted our invitation, is because it's part of our programme of trying to get law into communities and schools and getting school students into the law. We want to improve people's understanding of the jobs that we do. We want to dispel any myths that may still exist, myths that suggest you can only be a judge if you're a white, male, public school educated person. And we want to encourage people like you to think about a career in the law and potentially a career on the bench.
Good morning, judges. We would like to ask, could you describe a typical day as a judge?
Thank you for the question. I'm just going to start by saying I'm not sure there's a typical day because there's not really such a thing as a typical judge. There are so many judges, which is why we've got the panel here comprising people who do different things. But let's find out what they say.
I was surprised by how much they do outside of the court. I didn't realise there was that much involved in being a judge. I was quite surprised that there were that many females on the panel, and I quite like that because obviously as a female myself, I quite like to know that there's those opportunities for myself. So yeah, I quite like that. And also, I suppose I was quite surprised that I thought they'd be more sort of stoic, like not as emotional as they were, but like they were quite human and quite relatable and also emotional. So I quite like seeing that side of them that I hadn't really seen in a judge before.
So I think it gave me like a lot of encouragement and inspiration to find it out and check it out. So.
Good morning, judges. How far do you think the media influences trials and members of the jury?
Well, I've sat on cases where we've had the unfortunate examples of jurors who've researched a case they were trying, and I'm afraid they've done so in defiance of the judge's orders, and I think Judge Morris can tell you a little more about that in a moment, and they've gone to prison. And it's because we're all influenced by everything we see and read. Whether we know it or not, we're likely to just soak things.
It was really interesting. I think we both learned a lot, and envisaging both of ourselves and aspiring to have a legal career in the future, I think that was really beneficial to us.
Well, I was quite surprised to see that some of the judges hadn't actually done law at university, and they didn't come from very privileged backgrounds, so it was reassuring to like the aspiring lawyers in the room if they wanted to pursue a career.
Ever since I was 8 years old, I've envisioned myself in a legal career, and I hope one day to be sitting on the bench too.
Good morning to you all. Given recent news, do you think there should be harsher punishments for under 18's knife crime so to act as a deterrent?
People under 18 are really present a challenge because you're trying to change them. They're really young. And they're still at that stage in their life where they're learning and they're changing. So we have to have real concern about their welfare. But the offences you're talking about are serious.
I mean, it was quite surprising. Like, usually you see all the judges are like men, white, really posh, rich. But there was only one male judge there, actually 4 female judges, and it was quite fascinating to see like the more diverse range of judges that we have today.
Did you all become judges by design, or are any of you surprised to be where you are today?
But I never for 1 minute thought that there would come a day where I'd be sitting on the bench as a judge at all. And I still wake up every morning thinking, is this me? Is it really me?
I think that the judges were quite friendly and they were really open with their opinions, and they gave a good insight into what it's like to be a judge. So it made it more accommodating.
So I asked what skills and characteristics make a good judge, and I found it very insightful, very interesting to hear what they thought and their experiences of being in a court. So yeah, I found that very helpful.
What skills and characteristics do you think make a good judge?
Joe?
Patience, the ability to listen, and I mean truly listen. And you have to be able to communicate, because there's no point listening if you can't then explain to somebody why you're doing what you're doing.
But also a degree of personal resilience, because often what we're dealing with are very distressing situations for the people who are appearing before us, or maybe upsetting for some other reason, or we may be feeling under a lot of pressure because of the sheer volume of cases that we're dealing with.
I think it was like the emotional part where that they hold the tears in and everything like that. So I think that was quite a really big one.
Yeah, and seeing how much work they do behind the scenes and seeing how much effort that goes into, court cases, which is what we don't really see often. So yeah.
Honestly, when you first think of judges, you normally think a bit stuck up and snobby, but they were very talkative and approachable and friendly.
So give us a good opportunity in the future, so we have an open eye.
Would you consider a legal career?
Yes,
yeah,
I'd
we
like
do.
to become a lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's amazing. Yeah, I love it. It's very.
You stay here forever.